version of Panda.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, it comes every.
It took me about an hour.
I left.
Oh, I left my office live.
That's a good school start.
Follow the
Cover.
Good evening and welcome to the Waipahū Neighborhood Board. I'd like to go over the rules of speaking. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to raise their hand, and when recognized by myself, to address comments to the chair. Speakers are encouraged to keep their comments under 3 minutes, and those giving reports are urged to keep their reports under 3 minutes as well. Please silence all electronic devices at this time. It is customary with our Waipahū Neighborhood Board to introduce our board members. I would like to start on my right. Board member.
Good evening, Terry Tumbaga, Subdistrict 3.
Good evening, Chad Domingo at large.
Good evening, Richard Oshiro at large.
Aloha, good evening, Nathan Chang, Subdistrict 3.
Good evening, Jayton Chang, Subdistrict 3.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Darryl Macha at large.
Good evening, Dave Beer, Subdistrict 2.
Thank you, board members. So let's start with our agenda. First item on our agenda is our first responders. I see Honolulu Fire Department. Please come to the podium.
Hello, my name is Casey Clooney, firefighter for the Honolulu Fire Department at the Waipahū Fire Station. The statistics that we'll provide represent a number of incidents in the Waipahū area for the previous month of April. For more details on the incidents or related mapping information, please visit the fire response map on our HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov under the News and Info tab. Should you have any questions, please email the HFD's Affairs and Media Liaison at hfdnhb@honolulu.gov. In the month of April, there were 3 structure fires, 1 wildland fire, 5 nuisance fires, 1 cooking fire, and 13 activated alarms with no fire. There were 117 medical emergencies, 0 motor vehicle collisions with pedestrians, 8 motor vehicle crashes, 0 mountain rescues, 0 ocean rescues, and 3 hazardous materials incidents. Nuisance fires include rubbish fires outside a structure or vehicle, for your information. The safety tip for the month of May is revolves around home fire sprinklers. Fire sprinklers serve as the first line of defense against fires and often extinguish the fire before the fire department arrives. For more information, visit homefiresprinkler.org. Fire spreads quickly. A fire can turn deadly in under 2 minutes. Synthetic materials burn quickly and release deadly poisonous smoke. High-risk individuals in home fires include small children, adults, those with disabilities, and pets. Fire sprinklers protect your home and family and activate automatically to control the fire, thereby giving everyone a chance to escape. The best protection is having working smoke alarms, fire sprinklers, and a practice fire escape plan. Information about Honolulu's ordinance to fire safety is available at fire.honolulu.gov. Mahalo.
Thank you for your report. Do I have any questions from our board members to Honolulu Fire Department? Question from our members of the audience? Any questions to Honolulu Fire Department? Seeing none, thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Next item, or next report from Honolulu Police Department.
Hi, good evening, Waipahū Neighborhood Board, Lieutenant Glenn Iwasaki, District 3 Pro City. I'll start with the reported incidents this is in comparison from March 2025 to April 2025. Motor vehicle thefts was at 9, rose to 13. Burglaries was at 9, went down to 6. Thefts was 34, reduced down to 23. And car break-ins was 7, went up 1 to 8. Call service for this area, March 2025 was 2,203. It went up to 2,363. And total calls serviced in District 3, it was 5,086. April was 5,280. Our safety tip of the month is drive safely, don't drink and drive, and please obey traffic laws. And also have information from what was brought up, I guess at the last meeting. So for abandoned vehicles, if you guys have abandoned vehicles that you want to be taken care of, you can email myself. Last time, I think a board member reported, we did it that same night, so and we took care of it. So the easiest way is to let me know. However, the public can go on the Honolulu 311 app and they can report it on there as well. And then that will go through its course and get taken care of as well. I think it goes directly to the AV section, abandoned vehicle section. But HPD can take care of it as well. For the topic of homeless individuals on the 2025, the CPT team led by Kelly and DFM, Department of Facility Maintenance, Stored Property Ordinance crew, they did a cleanup on the bike path, Pearl Harbor to Blaisdell, or actually Blaisdell to Waipahū Depot Street. During that time, all homeless persons were, I guess they encountered them, were provided outreach and shelter information by the CPT officers. 6.11 tons of trash was collected and disposed of. 16 removal notices were issued. 3 cubic yards of metal were discarded, and 32 shopping carts were collected and removed. They again did it the next day with the community. So CPT, along with the, I guess it was called Environmental Services Earth Day, they, with the volunteers, did a cleanup along Pro City Bike Path from Magru to Pupo'ole Mini Park, so the other side of it. And there's a picture of everybody that volunteered. There's a whole bunch that volunteered for that day. So, and we continue to try to monitor the bike path. Our crime reduction unit's constantly on there, recovering stolen those individuals. So it's a constant, enforcement efforts that's being down there. If you guys know, like behind Best Buy too, I think they're doing construction there now. So other, I think the road's closed area right now. So we also work with the Navy too on that. Half is Navy, half is ours. So yeah, it's just an ongoing effort to clean that bike path out. But yeah, that's all I have for share.
Thank you for your report. Have any board member questions? Go ahead, please share.
This is more of a clarification on the traffic laws that you talked about earlier, follow all traffic laws. What is the law on motorcycles riding in between cars on the freeway? Because that seems to be, I thought it was against the law, but it's happening a lot and there are causing accidents.
It is against the law, yes. And it's, I see it too. It's super hard to enforce because it's usually during when all the traffic's locked up, right? So we can't go and chase them too. But our solo bikes, they're the ones that enforce it. And I'm pretty sure that they catch some of them. But yeah, I do. When the traffic's heavy, I see it. I know in the mainland it's legal. I'm pretty sure they didn't change the law and it's not legal over here. So It's just enforcement is really tough for that if we're in our cars.
Any other questions for HPD from the board? Questions from our audience? I do have a quick question. It was brought to my concern. When you're driving on the H1 freeway and you notice a car that swerving, potentially drunk driver, do you call 911 for that? I
Yeah,
mean,
call it in. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
We get calls every night for that, and then we try to, you know, they'll call, and by the time they call, there's a slight delay, right? When you call 911, the call taker gives it to the dispatcher dispatches it out. But we try to go estimate what time the call came in and go ahead and see if we can get in. And sometimes our officers are successful in pulling them over and arresting them for DUI. So, but yes, you do call 911 for that.
Yeah, this was this morning on the freeway, like 9 in the morning. So I was it was perplexing to see someone driving under the influence that early.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes they're, because I work DUI enforcement as well. So sometimes they're eating breakfast and they're doing that, or sometimes they're looking at their phone, looking down. But so I've stopped, I mean, an array of different, like breast pumping and
Oh,
all the stuff that, I came across. Yeah. So
thank
but,
you.
yeah. But yeah, do call it in. We get it all the time. It's called a hazardous driver. Also, they'll put it on the radio and our officers go and try to find that vehicle. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. Next one on our agenda is the military report.
You-
Aloha, good evening, board members, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lieutenant Colonel John Regnary. I am the 599th Transportation Brigade Plans and Exercises Officer. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to deliver tonight's military report from U.S. Army Hawaii. In response to an inquiry from March 27th board meeting regarding public access to the Tropic Lightning Museum on Schofield Barracks, the following procedures would apply. Visitors must stop at the Lyman Gate Visitor Control Center. At the gate, they should inform the soldier that they are requesting a day pass to visit the Tropic Lightning Museum. Every 18 and older must present an ID compliant with the real ID, with the new real ID. If they don't have a real ID compliant identification, they'll need 2 forms of ID along with their social security number for vetting. Once vetted, a live will be taken and a visitor pass will be issued. For drivers, they must have their driver's license, current vehicle registration, a valid safety inspection, and proof of insurance. If you drive a rental car, they must also need a copy of the rental agreement. April job fair, May job fair. U.S. Army Garrison Hawaii will hold its next hiring fair it's June. On June 24th at Kapolei High School, beginning at 8 a.m. and ending at 2 p.m. This is open to the public. Advanced applicants may go to www.himwr.com to learn of openings and how to apply online. Walk-ins are welcomed and should bring 2 references, proof of identification, social security card, and resume or application. Training advisory. U.S. Army Garrison publishes a monthly training advisory. Details for training remaining for this month is as follows. In May, the Army in Hawaii will continue training on the East Ridge area with Ranger Jungle Tactics Small Arms Blank Fire from 21 to 26 and 28 to 30 May from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Additionally, there will be artillery and motor training 30 through 31 May, day and night live fire, including late evening and early morning hours at Schofield Barracks. If you want to be added to the training advisory list, email usag.hawaii.com REL at army.mil. Celebrating the Army's 250th birthday, U.S. Army invites the community to celebrate Army heritage at Fort DeRussy on Thursday, June 12th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. The event will feature static displays of military equipment and opportunities to speak with soldiers about their experiences and career paths. Oahu Final IES. In accordance with the National Environmental Policy Act and the Hawaii Environmental Policy Act, the Army will publish a final environmental impact statement, FEIS, in May for Army training, land retention of state lands, and Kahakua training area, Homa training area, and Macau military reservation. This administrative action does not involve construction or training changes to training. The final EIS assesses the environmental impacts of the proposed action alternatives and no action alternative. A 30-day waiting period will follow FEIS publication with a record of decision expected this summer. Pending your questions, this concludes my report. Thank you for the time this evening.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel. Do I have any questions concerning the military report from our board? Any questions? Any questions from our members of the audience? Seeing none, thank you so much for your report. Okay, moving on, next item on our agenda is our board business. Fortunately, we do not have a quorum, so we are unable to seek any fulfillment of our board vacancies. But just for our viewers, we do have 4 at-large seats available. And unfortunately as well, we're able to approve our minutes from our board meeting that was held on Thursday, March 27th, and will be deferred to our next meeting. Next item on our agenda is the resident community concerns. First off, do we have any members of the board with any resident community concerns? Hearing none. What are members of the audience? Do we have any members from the audience with any community concerns, resident concerns? Seeing none, thank you. Moving along, we do have 2 presentations today. If we could ask our presenters to keep your presentations under 10 minutes. And mainly, you're presenting with us today for our audience who's probably going to be watching on replay or, correct, watching the recording. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here. My name is Kent Yang. I'm with the Department of Transportation Services. I'm here to introduce our consultant from PBR Hawaii, Katie Collison. She'll be talking about the proposed changes the bus is having in anticipation of the October opening of the second phase Skyline. Katie?
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for your time. Oh, I can see. Good to go. All right. Thank you all for your time this evening. We will keep our presentation to exactly 10 minutes if I go very quickly. Aloha, my name is Katie. I'm a planner with PBR Hawaii. We're a consulting firm and supporting the Department of Transportation Services, City and County of Honolulu, with some bus route changes that are under consideration that we'd like to share with the public and get feedback on at this time. As Kent mentioned, the next phase of Skyline Rail will be opening October 1. and the city is contemplating making some bus route changes to best align commuter routes in particular and connect people to employment centers with the next phase opening of rail. So I'm going to run through a few slides to share some of those considered changes for your information. And then at the end of the presentation, there'll be a website, a web address where folks can leave comments. And we're looking for comments by July 15th. So this first slide and the next one that follows show the Skyline stations that have opened with the first phase and the next series of openings, phase 2 in October. The first phase, of course, terminates at Aloha Stadium, and the second phase will terminate at Middle Street. And this, like I said before, will connect more people to employment centers. So it's important to think about people's commutes at this time. In the small print on this slide, what you'll see is that Skyline hours will also be expanded with earlier starts and stops each day. So we're trying to align bus routes with earlier operating and later operating hours to increase, looking to increase ridership on transit and improve service to riders overall. There's 3 phases of bus route changes that are under consideration with this next phase opening of Skyline. The first group of changes actually already happened in March, and I'll share a slide on that in a little bit. Then there's a series of changes that are under consideration to routes October 1, and I'm going to walk through each of those in detail tonight. And then we're also going to preview a couple of additional changes that are under consideration at this time, and we're looking for feedback. Overall, if all these bus routes are adjusted, it would actually increase bus service by approximately 3%, which when you calculate that out, that comes to about 40,000 hours annually. So all in all, the idea here is to increase service for people. So moving on, this first slide just illustrates the routes that were adjusted in with the first opening of in March with this phase, anticipating this first phase opening of Skyline, this next phase opening of Skyline, excuse me. Routes were restructured to provide service to Skyline, and a new route was added to get riders from Eva Beach to the UH West Oahu station. So that's what's displayed on this screen. And now I'll go into a series of routes that are under consideration for October's opening. So this first slide shows you kind of a diagrammatic image that shows how bus commuter route and Skyline can integrate together to make a more seamless network, where you have a core of rapid buses that make limited stops with feeder buses still in the community to provide localized service. And the intention here, as I said, is to make these commuter routes more reliable, faster for the people who choose to use them. So this first and following, this next slide, is a proposed truncation to the current A line. This image and the one that will follow are kind of before and after style slides. This one shows the current A line. You can see that it extends all the way to the Pearl Ridge Station. And then on this slide, you can see how the A line is under consideration to terminate at Lagoon Drive. The hours of service are proposed to be expanded to run later into the night, and there's no change to the frequency of service proposed. So again, when lines like this are truncated, it frees up more buses for service elsewhere on island. The next route that I'd like to run by you folks and share relates to Route 20. This slide and the following one show how a new W line is proposed to be added to replace Route 20. First, on this slide, what you'll see is the dash line, which represents the 20. And you can see how in places it is redundant with the Skyline corridor. And then on the following slide, what you see here, the new W line is proposed to connect with Skyline at the airport. And you'll see in the written text in the small print if you can read that from here. The hours of service are expanding to add earlier mornings, but will still be running late into the night for folks who work in Waikiki. There'll also be a greater frequency of service, giving riders more flexibility in planning their commutes with fewer stops. This next slide shows a bit more detail on the W line as it's conceptualized. It would make a slightly different loop near the airport, and then downtown would follow Nimitz Highway rather than passing through the downtown core couplet. The next route that I'd like to share with you that's under consideration is a new route that's proposed to run from Mapunapuna to UH Manoa on weekdays. This would allow anyone to catch Skyline from the west side and then hop on a limited stop bus that would get them to campus in Manoa. The frequency is proposed to be every hour with extra trips during AM and PM peak hours. So that one's a new one that's proposed, the U line. This one may be of interest that we'd like some feedback on is the proposed Route 331. This slide and the one that I'll show you that follows shows how Route 303, which serves Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam, would be discontinued in favor of a new Route 331. So the dash line is the 303 that you see on this slide. And then as I toggle to the next one, you can see how the 331 is proposed to connect to Skyline, improving times for riders. But it would reduce some of that bus line segment that is redundant with the Skyline corridor. This slide that screen now shows some proposed changes to existing routes that are proposed to connect to Skyline at Lagoon Drive rather than further out at the stadium. And noted on this slide is the Wahiawa Route 51 would also stop at Pearl Highlands. So just rerouting to a different station. And then the last proposed route change that I'd like to inform people of is Route 46. This is just a frequency change that's under consideration, where Route 46 runs between Kapalua and UH West Oahu. Right now it's scheduled an every 10-minute run, and we're proposing to run it at every 15 minutes to kind of meet the demand that it's experiencing at this time. So that concludes the routes that are kind of under anticipation or under consideration for an October 1 opening of the next phase of Skyline. This is a preview now of a couple of other changes that are under consideration. Again, here's kind of the graphic overview of Skyline, how it can work with different bus routes. The first line that I'd like to just preview for folks is proposed C line. It currently runs from Makaha to town, but instead it could run to UH West Oahu Station, where folks could then get off the bus, get onto Skyline, get out of traffic for the rest of their commute into town. Another route that we'd like to preview is the proposed E line, which again could be adjusted from running into town to make more of a Malcolm Mackay service from Wahiawa to Ewa Beach and connecting everyone in between to Skyline. So that is sort of a preview that DPS and the team is considering at this time. So my final is my thank you for your time in hearing this presentation. We're documenting comments tonight. If you think of something more later, please I'll just read this email address out, thebusstop@honolulu.gov, if anyone would like to email comments to the team about the changes that they've seen in this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Exciting changes. Board Member Chang?
Just one quick question. On your slide 11, you have that proposed W line looks terminating at about 2 o'clock in the morning. But during this time, the train will only run until 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and Friday and Saturday till 11 p.m. So people leaving Waikiki on that line, what will they do to get back to Eva Beach?
Question. I will look and find out an answer for you. Sorry.
No?
Stump me.
Any other questions from our board members? Board member Cheryl?
That question. How many buses will be running on the two long bus routes, the W line and the U line, since like the U line, UH is like a 60-minute interval. So how many buses will actually be running on that on that route?
I would have to find out that information unless, Ken, if you know off the top of your head.
The reason I ask that is because the way you shorten the interval is by putting on more buses. So for where you have these long intervals, you know, I don't know if that's going to encourage more ridership. So that's the question. Are you at any point in time planning to put on more buses on those routes that have a long interval?
Yes, sir. So what we're trying to do with the truncation, frequency would definitely be considered. So there'll more buses to fill those gaps. But this is just a proposal, the proposed design of the network. But yeah, frequency will be considered.
What does that mean?
Oh, frequency as in
Considered.
the
Do you mean you're going to put more buses on if you
Yes.
have riders waiting
frequency? Yeah,
hours?
the time between the same bus coming to that bus stop in particular. Yeah. So from 1 hour will be shortened, coming like maybe every 30 minutes, depending.
You know, if you for every bus that you add, you know how much time it shortens that interval?
I don't have the exact data, but we're looking at models to see how much time is saved and everything. But definitely before we do that, we always look at that first and the ridership to see if it merits more buses.
Oh, that's the whole point. You're not going to get ridership unless you cut down that interval, the wait time that people have.
Yes, yes, sir. That's why the frequency of the buses coming earlier, more buses coming, is something that's considered when in terms of ridership, in terms of getting more people to ride the bus.
The bus is also limited for how many passengers they can take, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. We also look at the maximum capacity of every bus too. Yeah, if it's always a full bus, we look into that and mitigate by having more buses.
Any other questions from our board?
So
Board member.
to tag on to board member Oshiro's question, at what point in this process do you folks determine what the appropriate frequency will be?
At what point of this planning process?
Correct.
There is still time. We're still looking at it. So the comments by July, we're still planning this out. Everything is as best as we can from the data that we're looking at right now. So yeah, there's still time. And nothing is permanent, but this is the changes that we're proposing.
I have a question real quick. You have information in regards to the airport stop. I guess I would like where exactly is the airport new stop? Or go ahead.
You're asking where the station will be?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so it will be near terminal, the international terminal. When you come down on the on the ground level, when you pick up passengers, you'll cross the crosswalk and you keep going Mauka, and then you can't miss it. It's a giant station, and then people are able to ride the bus or take Skyline.
So an example, if I'm traveling from Waipahū, I would get on any of, well, let's say the West Lock station, and I want to go to the airport, catch my flight. So I would get off at the stop at the airport. How close is that to the Hawaiian terminal?
It's very closer. Like
You can walk it. with my luggage.
You can walk it, yeah, yeah.
So I don't have to jump on another.
No, you
But-
don't have
yeah.
to transfer. Take the Wiki shuttle or anything.
Yeah, United, that's on the other end of the airport. So that's not,
It's like attached to, you know where the Skyline Station is, right? You've seen that?
The parking structure. You know where the parking structure is?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like next to the parking structure.
Where
Once
the
you-
car,
Once you pass the
there's the
parking
rental
structure,
car.
the rail station's like in the middle of it.
You know, the new, it's right there.
Well, I wish it was open next week because I have to go to the airport.
Me too.
Board member Terry had a question? No, go ahead. Board member Shiro?
I don't, follow-up question. Do you know what the ridership is currently on the buses between the two lines that you plan to open up, the one that goes to UH and the one that goes to Waikiki? Because wouldn't you already know what the ridership is like already from the points, say from Aloha Stadium to UH Manoa and to what the ridership on the buses are? And what is the current interval of those buses?
I don't have the ridership numbers on hand, but we have it, our computers. So we know how many people get off, how many people get on these routes. And yeah, those are pretty well-used routes. So that's why we're putting them as a priority. We're trying to optimize them as best as we can.
Doesn't make sense if you have to wait 1 hour for the bus, especially if you already have buses running those routes. I don't follow that. How do you integrate the current routes that run those routes to UH and to Waikiki with these new routes you're proposing?
They're supplemental, sir. So we have additional routes that go that way. But I think my colleague Pete can elaborate.
Pete Carino from BTS. So the U route is a proposed new route. The A route already goes to UH on a regular schedule, and we're not changing the frequency of that. What we've done is, since the route doesn't need to go as far, right? We can redeploy those buses to provide an hourly kind of one-seat ride express to UH. So the U line is proposed to just provide that kind of supplemental. If you don't want to hit all the interim stops through the downtown and Ala Moana, you can get on an hourly basis kind of an express ride right to UH from the Skyline. That's the proposal. So we have basically a pretty fixed for a bus. We are proposing overall to expand 3% in terms of how many hours, and we have enough drivers to do that. And it's not just one line either. So one of the things you saw in the presentation that's there on the U line, that there's some supplemental trips in the morning and in the evening, 2 extra trips in the morning and the evening. But those will what we call interlining with other routes. So it's not just that bus stays on the U line and does that. It may go to another line thereafter, a 1 or a 2, so that we can fully utilize the bus. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, the other thought is, how are you going to encourage the students that use those lines now, like to UH?
Yeah.
To ride the bus if it's going to be faster? I can see if you're waiting 1 hour, for example, for that express, and it's going to take another hour to get to UH from starting point of that line. So what's the attraction of something like that?
So students can always take Skyline and get on the A line. It's just going to make more to get to UH. It's just going to have more stops. So what typically happens is the students will kind of target their trip, maybe on the inbound, to catch the quicker bus. And when they're coming out, whenever they're coming out, they're like, well, now I can't target it so much, so I'll take the A line back to the station. It may be a little bit longer trip, but it provides an additional option for a faster trip to get there. It's just, if we do 10-minute expresses to UH, we're losing all the ridership on the A that would be going downtown or Ala Moana, for example. Well, again, it's a balancing out of the system to make sure that we're, deploying the forces, the buses and our drivers, the places where we hope to capture the most ridership.
Thank you. My last question, I see on the proposed Skyline hours of operation where it says start of last full trip. So the start of the last full trip, it says 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. So 10 p.m. last full trip from, is that what we're saying here?
So what we don't want to do is like, oh, it's 10 o'clock and you're on the train and it's halfway through the route. Everyone get off it.
Correct.
Because the train has to go back to the yard
Yep.
anyway. So we just complete out the trips.
So go all the way back to, okay,
Yeah,
got it.
the last,
Got it.
yeah.
Thank you. Real quick, any questions from our audience? Seeing none. I do see, again, let's repeat the email. If you have any comments or questions no later than July 15 for our viewers, it is thebusstop@honolulu.gov. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
If you need a test rider for next week airport, I'm available. Next presentation is from our Community Emergency Response Training. Rodney, ready to go?
I have to put on a hand. Aloha, everyone. I'm here to talk about community emergency response team training, Red Cross training, and being prepared for disasters. I need someone to time me because I will go minutes unless someone has given me a signal at 5, 7, 8, etc. First off, again, thank you for having me. Very much appreciated last March, with the introduction for the community preparedness. I did this similar brief with the Pearl City Neighborhood Board back in March, and on Wednesday next week, I'll do it for the Makakilo Kapolei Neighborhood Board. This is part of my kuleana. I was a past Eva Beach Neighborhood Board member, got involved with Red Cross, have been for 35 years, and will continue to do this because I think it's important. For what we do today, CERT, Community Emergency Response Team Training. That is something that if you come online or go online, if you go to honolulu.gov/DEM, Department of Emergency Management, there, that website has links to CERT training as well as ham radio operator, RACES training, and other emergency preparedness training cycles. Very good functions. I'm also here as a Red Cross volunteer where we do basic CPR, first aid, AED training. All these skill sets are something that you can do now. You don't have to wait for a disaster. You don't have to wait for gray sky, dark sky. You can do it now if it's something that you have available to do so. Most of you up there on the council, as well as back here, I gave out some Be Ready Red Cross formats. It basically says exactly what I'm going to say, and the fact that you need to build your kit, you need to make a plan, and you need to stay informed. All that information is available in these formats. I don't need to go over it too much. But it is important that you do plan, because this will happen, if not to you or your family member, someone in the community during a disaster, whether it's a wildfire, i.e. Maui, and or Los Angeles for that matter, there will be injuries that you will have to help support.
to help at least get to emergency preparedness, to EMTs, et cetera. Everyone will be overwhelmed, and whatever you know as far as basic first aid, CPR, AED, basic CERT training, that's what I'm here to do, is to request that you follow up on your own time to do so. The other website is FEMA, FEMA.gov/CERT, CERT. On that, you'll find 2 individual classes online that you can do, basic individual CERT classes. If you take that, that gives you preparedness, individual preparedness. It's a basic course. If you want to have a CERT course here for your community, as well as he wants to join in with you, that is something that's available to do. As of right now, you need to get the online certificate first, then we can move forward. We like to try to have at least 20 people in a class. That is 3 Saturdays. First 2 Saturdays are the individual training that goes on that you'll find out if you go online to take class. Those 2 days are more formatted for here, local style, what we need to do for our local side. The 3rd Saturday is the practice exercise, where we take you out and we don't hurt anyone. No one gets injured, but we do provide some realism into the training. We have training sites down near Diamond Head. We also have it out in Nanakuli at the old civil defense bunkers. And we can also try to do it here. And we've done the classes at Croc Salvation Army, as well as UH West Oahu. We've done multiple out there. So these are places you can, but you need to try to, if you like to have something done, then you have to go to honolulu.gov/DEM and restart request. Currently, they're looking at 5 to 6 months out because of the demand. All instructors are individual. We're all volunteers. So many of us work day jobs, normal week jobs. That's why there's Saturdays. If you do want to do that, then I can help coordinate as best as I can. I am the West Oahu Leeward CERT coordinator for these courses, one of the instructors. COVID hit us just like everybody else. We lost instructors to go to the mainland, or they had to come out of the CERT and do what they had to do to provide a living for their families. Natural understanding. So you do have this as far as Red Cross, have the information about CERT, and I can stand by. I do have more snacks, fruit snacks. I mentioned I gave away the small Slim Jims and the fruit snacks and the teas. That is in reference to build your kit. If you can kit, if you haven't already, do think about it. It doesn't have to be a huge kit. It can be something small. It can be something that you need as an individual, what your families need. And then again, if your family includes cats, dogs, any other pets, you do need to be prepared for them. Whether they have a container, something that you can store them, have them in there, give them some safety. In a disaster, they're going to be moved around and take care of their needs as well. This is Linus, by the way. He's my wife's, not mine. But anyway. All right, moving on. What you have here is a cooler, normal cooler. I put stuff in there. I have another cooler that I put my stuff in for emergencies. If I have to build a kit, I already built it. It's in that cooler. My wife's is in her cooler. So we store food items that you don't need anything but water. This is a granola. If anyone would like to have this, all you have to do is sign up for a CERT class, and I'll give it to you right now. I have some this barbecue beef slices. They're good until October 27th, 2027. No water needed. They're ready to go. All you need is cold water for the granola, and it's good till 2053. So, any taker wants? Okay. That would be the draw. All right. I do have some things in reference to what's here up on the table. There's a very good hand. There's a very good handout back here from the Board of Water Supply. It talks about water and disinfecting. This would be a gallon of water. If you filled it up, it'd be 8 pounds-ish, and you need 14 days of this, is what the request that you be prepared to handle. Because if you do shelter in place, or if you do go to a shelter, you have to take care of yourself. The Red Cross, the Emergency Management, Hawaii Emergency Management, FEMA will not have the capacity, do not have the capacity to support 1 point whatever million people we have on Oahu. You need to take care of yourself first, your family, et cetera. So please do consider what 8 pounds of water will be, whether you go to Costco, Walmart, whatever, buy your cases of water, or if you get containers like this is a distilled water container, and I just save them until my wife tells me to get rid of them. And they're great because you can fill them up with tap water, put a little chlorine, as the reference from the Board of Water Supply has to do. You can do that, and then you'll have water. Most of us have tap water, whether you want to drink it or not, that's up to you, but you can disinfect it, and it would be survival capabilities. Talking about wildfires, Los Angeles. There's a great article. I saved about 20 of these articles from People magazine. It's very clear, it's very distinct, and it's very, very graphic. Well, not very, very graphic, but it does have pictures that showcase what the disaster happened. I still do have materials from the Maui wildfires. It's a wake-up call. If you can plan now, build your kit, make your plan, and stay informed now, that would save you and your families and your community as well, if you can do something like that. For Eva Beach, we started an Eva Preparedness Committee off the neighborhood board. Larry for Pearl City, he's also done it, and there's at least a half dozen other neighborhood boards, Kahuku, Kailua, Haula, being some, have started community preparedness. If that's something you want to do, I'm more than available to help you start it. Move forward. Mililani, be ready. They started from their community neighborhood boards. Food insecurity. Work with the food bank for food distributions. We normally do ours. I'm a volunteer with the VA out here at Akaka at the Kapolei Center, and we do ours on the second Friday of the month. We are now over 1,200 people that are there for food distribution items. Kapolei High School, they do their food distribution on the second Saturday. It matches up nicely. So I'm not for certain what's here, but food bank is a great resource to take advantage of and to help if you wish to donate. Food insecurity is something that is very prevalent, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. So do please consider that as an option. Have I hit the 10-minute mark, or am I beyond? Beyond. Okay. I'll stop there. I'll wave. Answer any questions if you want. I'll shake your hand if you want.
Thank you, Rodney. Any questions from our board to Rodney in regards to the presentation? Any questions? Any questions from our members? Go ahead. You want to use this mic? Yeah, you can use the mic here.
Nikki Rodwell. If you go on the website, can you sign up for any classes that still have spots, or is it you have to have 20 to sign up?
Well, if you go to the honolulu.gov DEM site, you can register for a class. They will ask you if you have already done the online training. There's a little bit of different things that are going on. Honolulu, Oahu City and County, their resources are somewhat a little bit different, but they do ask for the same thing. Do the basic individual cert class. We are always looking for instructors. Half our classes are women. So we're looking for instructors as well to help participate that. I am a veteran. I push this out to veterans organizations as well. Many veterans, whatever their service connectivity is, their families' connectivities, they know about being as prepared as possible in their travels, wherever they've had to transfer around to. So whether it's here, et cetera. But yes, you can go online, and there are classes that are held down at Oahu, at the Frank Fozzie Building, City and County, down in the basement where the DEM site is. And they do classes, and they usually fill up fairly quickly, about 20 people per class. The idea is when they reach that practical exercise point, the third Saturday, they have at least 12 people left to do so, because it takes 6 to 7 instructors every class on the practical exercise. So we have to be down there and do that down there. Or if we do it out here, it still takes 6 to 7 instructors as we go through. And we're always looking, we've used scouts, we've used JROTCs, we've used students from UH West Oahu to be our victims, if you will, our survivors. Let me say survivors, better than victims if at all possible. But we're also looking for that. Did that answer your question? Okay.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you so much, Ron.
One alibi.
Go ahead.
One other website, and that is HIEMA.org, Hawaii Emergency Management Agency. And they have information, basic kits for everything also on that. And one other alibi, if I may, Emergency Management Professionals of Hawaii, EMPHI.org. That's Emergency Management Professionals of Hawaii. That is the organization that nonprofit organization that helps coordinate with the Red Cross, CERT classes, and the community organizations that are giving classes. I'll think of something else, but I'll shut up.
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Mahalo.
Felt that it was appropriate to have you come by today, especially because of our hurricane season happening, starting next week. So appreciate that. And for our viewers, hopefully when you watch this replay, you can pick up on all the websites was shared tonight. Thank you again for your presentation. Last one.
Last one. There are natural disasters, of which now we're in that period coming up. But yesterday was a celebration, a memorial celebration for the Westlock disaster that happened less than 3 miles away in Westlock during World War II toward the end, as they were planning for the invasion of Japan. That took the lives of 150 soldiers, sailors, airmen during an explosion that happened very close to here. That is something that we do have man-made disasters as well, which I will reference Red Hill as a possibility of that. But these things do strike home right here. And so be as prepared as possible. And does anyone want to possibly? Thank you very much. Mahalo.
Thank you. All right. Continuing on our agenda, elected officials. I know that the mayor's representative is not with us this evening because the mayor's at his town hall. So a lot of our council members are there as well. But mayor's representative did submit his report, which is available to the board on the drive. Like to first call on a representative from Councilmember Matt Wyer's office. Kelly? Oh, why not we call on Councilmember Wyer?
Aloha, Chair, board members. Apologies for the delay. We just came from Waipahū Intermediate School Awards Ceremony. We did disseminate our newsletter. We have updates on concerns that were relayed to the community. That's the chart that we have in our newsletter. And we are still going through budget discussions. We'll have a budget complete on June 4th. So that's upcoming. You can submit testimony on that. We do have a pending symbol if it's a resolution at the council in funding, and they're looking at a park at the area commonly known as the Meadows. in rural Cunha. We did a community meeting with the community association last week. There were some concerns about it. Really, we're very early on in the process. As I shared at that meeting, there's no guarantee that a park's going to be there, not even a plan at this point. DPP did generate a report that took a lot of community feedback. Part of the reason we thought that may be a good idea was just because of the concerns the community had. Homeless community sometimes in that area. There's been questions about the fire break setback. That is private land. So as I shared at that meeting, the city can't go in and just, mow it all down. And so that was kind of the reason for starting that conversation. If you had feedback on that, you can go ahead and email our office with that. We were also able to attend the Waikele Elementary School National Honor Society induction. Waipahū Complex is, I think, the only, but one of the few that has honor society at all levels, from elementary through middle up to high school. We also attended the memorial service for Police Week. We're also excited to have new ambulances being released. We had a ceremony blessing for over a dozen, and there are a few more coming as well as we go through the current fiscal year. And then, of course, wanted to just note that administration has indicated they'll be working on expanding dog parks in the area. We do have, of course, the dog park at Central Oahu Regional Park at the bottom, at the top of Pa'iwa. It comes up sometimes. I'll just reiterate, at this point, there's no plan to connect the road all the way through. That's been a question that comes up from community members. So right now, there's no connection between the bottom of the park and the top of the park. Our plastic bill that we talked about did pass full council. Again, that's limited the city vending machines, and so doesn't affect businesses, doesn't affect the broader community. And again, grateful for the youth that testified on that measure. And, I think we've seen some of the more recent data. We had the health data that came out over the past few years. And of course, there's more that came out recently related to heart disease and the impact of the thinner plastics, or the malleable ones, like our shampoo bottles, stuff like that. And of course, there's the microplastics that can pop up in our drinking bottles as well. Bill 15 is still pending, or passed rather. That provides financial relief for local families to comply with the cesspool conversion. It's a grant program that the state can implement, and also and it's also broad enough to allow for other programs to get funding out to the community. We've seen some cuts to various programs that local and state government has supported with federal funds. And so we see this as just a gap measure also to help support like energy efficiency, water efficiency, resilience measures for folks' homes. We figured getting those into the hands of our local families would help them, reduce the burden of costs while allowing them to make their homes safer and also more resilient. And just some more community updates. So we are still waiting. We've talked to the department about the street light on a new street. They're still waiting in auger truck repairs. And so hoping that, they did get their repairs. Okay, yeah. But it is top of mind and top priority for the department. So once they have the auger truck, then they'll be able to go. The Anui and Komiki Street speeding has been related to the police department, and they're aware, and they'll be monitoring. And then on Cunha Road, closer to Cunha Village, there was some speeding issues. So the city's been working with State DOT on looking at calming measures. And so happy to take any questions from the board.
Thank you, Councilmember. I have a question just in regards to your Royal Cunha community meeting. I know you mentioned that the proposed park, I did look at your plan and it was interesting, but the proposed park at the Meadows. So if I understand correctly, the Meadows is, you said it's privately owned land, but
correct.
Also the way the Meadows is structured, it's leasehold.
So it's a CPR, my understanding. So the tenants are tenants in common.
Correct.
There's multiple CPRs. For those that aren't familiar, that's a state process when you do a condominium property regime. I know Chair is very familiar from his work.
Yes.
And so just to add to that, so right now, one of the owners at the top of the meadow, so the top of the parcel, and just to take it back for those not familiar, there was a proposed second, of course, that was supposed to be at this location. The developer was unable to fill that obligation. And then the parcel was purchased by private owners. There's a collective, most of them LLCs that are tenants in common for a multi-CPR parcel. They're working on an agricultural plan. Nothing has been finalized for them, but part of the issue that came up also previously was access to that property. The community had concerns about the trucks going over the sidewalk and causing damage or disrepair. And so they're still working with the Department of Planning and Permitting on a broader plan for the parcel. In addition to that top parcel, which is 10 acres, the two parcels below. We've also been talking with owners about their potential interest. Again, this is very preliminary, and so they haven't relayed any commitments, but really the stage we're at would be just, seeking community input on the parcel. I know some folks had concerns, some were interested. If the city were to acquire portions of them to create a park, maintained, cut, there's no specific plan for the type of activities. We'd have to go through a subdivision process to carve out and take a few of those parcels. And of course, we haven't talked to all of the owners with their long-term plans, but in terms of what the community wants and what those owners want, I definitely think there's opportunity to continue conversation as well. I'm happy to, answer any follow-up.
Yeah, thank you. No, that was good. Thank you so much. Any questions from our board members to Councilmember Wire? Questions from our audience? Thank you, Councilmember, for coming straight from your event here. Oh, we had Kelly just in standby.
No, she's perfect. So Rep. Chan also just made it too. So
yes, thank you.
Board.
Let's see. Do we have a representative from Council Okimoto? Okay.
It's tall. No, I'm good. No. Thank you. I need to just stretch more. Aloha, Chair, and aloha, neighborhood board members. Thank you for having me. My name is Jocelyn Texan Roberts, and I'm here to represent Councilmember Val Okimoto and District 8 for tonight's report. Thank you so much. As you can see, I've passed you out some of our newsletters for our district. It has some highlights and information that is helpful for you guys to refer to as well. The first thing we'd like to say on behalf of Councilmember Okimoto is it's graduation season this month. So on behalf of Councilmember Okimoto and our office, we would like to take this time to congratulate all the 2025 graduates and all their future successes. Also, the Councilmember Okimoto's May's newsletter, page 3, has a list of all the dates of the schools that are conducting their graduation ceremonies across our island of Oahu. This will not only remind us of these celebrations, but to also be aware of the hotspots of traffic in our areas. And I'd like to especially congratulate Waipahū High School, who just graduated this past Monday. Go Marauders, they just graduated from at the Stan Sheriff Center. So I know a few people that whose kids have graduated from Waipahū High School. So I just wanted to mention that as well. Also for the Honolulu City, for the airport, the Honolulu City Council is reviewing the fiscal year 2026 budget, a $5.14 billion package that prioritizes infrastructure, housing, and public safety, including $657 million, roughly 17% of the city budget will go to public safety, HPD, HFD, emergency services, and ocean safety. Also, Councilmember Okimoto has requested over $5 million in capital improvement projects, such as traffic safety improvements throughout Pearl City, Waipahū, and Mililani. To view these city council bills, resolutions, and agendas and other communications, we'd like to ask that you visit hnl.doc.ehawaii.gov/hnl/doc/. Also, there's some important websites and links that you can find on your Google Drive that was sent by our staff. Councilmember Okimoto's monthly letter is on there. The information about real property tax. Important dates to consider is June 30th, 2025, which is the end of tax year. Honolulu City Council meetings, the link is on there as well. You can submit testimony for bills and resolutions. That link is on there as well. Complete streets, sign up for quarterly reports on there. Information about feral chickens, the link is also on there. To report graffiti and also adopt the park. Also, I would like to mention in regards to our Waipahū number 22, we had a concern here, a community concern that we called in, that was called in. There's a house in Waipahū with possible hoarding of dogs on the property. We just wanted to report to you that this concern was forwarded to the HPD and the Department of Planning and Permitting for investigation and is currently in progress. As for that, if you wanted to refer to the newsletter as well, is there any questions that I can take back to our staff and Councilmember Okimoto that we can take care of you for you?
Thank you for your report. Any questions or concerns for Councilmember Okimoto's office? Seeing none, members from our audience? Hearing none. Thank you so much for your report.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Have a good day.
Next on our agenda, representative from Bertolba office. Aaron, welcome.
Hello, Chair, Board Member. I guess Aaron Michael Ho here for the record from the Office of Councilmember Augie Toba. I distributed council members' report earlier, and for if you did not get one, please let me know and I'll get that to you. There are extra copies on the back table at your convenience. And if you so choose, this as a digital copy will be available online at our website, as well as all of our previous reports, augitoba.hnl.com. And in the interest of time, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that over the past month, since Earth Day, actually, April 22nd, our office has been partnering with several city agencies and local area nonprofits as part of our ongoing cleanup efforts here in Waipahū. So on Earth Day, we coordinated with H-Power and the Nonprofit Protectors of Paradise. We mounted our annual cleanup of Trash Mountain. For those that are not aware, Trash Mountain is a large pile of illegal dumping that takes place next to Ariani by Waipahū Elementary. You can see that particular cleanup on the cover of our newsletter. We've been in touch with the private landowners back there at the sites where the illegal dumping happens, and we are in discussions with them how to curb the dumping from their properties. Let's see. A cleanup was also mounted in the area immediately below Reflections Baptist, also on Waipahū Street below Waipahū Elementary. And if I can be candid, like that one was super gross. But let's see, 3 weeks after that, we partnered with Parks and NAN Inc., the Youth Challenge, and also the Department of Corrections on a project to clear a large fire break next to Waipahū Elementary School. So with all of these projects combined, we were able to haul away approximately 20 tons of debris. Varied solutions right now so that we won't have to redo this work too many times in the future. But yeah, this is like the 4th time maybe we've cleared Trash Mountain. But yeah, we'll see what we can do in our next 4 years. See, also during this time, there was a large SPO, SNO enforcement on Waipahū Cultural Gardens Park at Hawaii Plantation Village. We were trying to coordinate our efforts so that we could support each other, but our dates just didn't line up. But thankfully, they were able to demolish those big houses that were in the S Bend by Waipahū Street. If you hadn't seen it, like there were like it was kind of impressive. There were a couple of large houses that they built, and in there they were housing like their gambling activities and things of that nature. So thankfully they were able to be hauled away. Unfortunately, though, as a result, the individuals from these encampments had to go somewhere, and so they've been popping up along Farrington Highway. We've been encountering them at areas like Ace Medical that are participating with our Win Back Waipahū program. So we've been working with HPD and DFM to schedule further SPO, SNO enforcements, and hopefully we can get that kind of squared away quickly. And that's about all I have. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them back.
Thank you, Aaron. Any questions for Council Member Tolba's office? Excuse me. Go ahead, Board Member Terry.
You mentioned solutions around that area, you guys, because sometimes, there's a sign that says no dumping U.S. government property. Are you guys like one of the consideration is probably like fencing or something? I mean, because I know, I help you guys out, and then there's been cleaning, and every time you clean, it keeps continuing, and it's like a ongoing problem. So I don't know, what the possible solutions, that you guys also are considering.
So at one point, we were talking about signage, additional signage on that side of HPV along Aniani Place. However, when the city went in, like there wasn't anywhere that they could actually post, like install the post because it's on a hillside, meaning that they would have to be installed on the private property side, which means that the city monies can't be spent on that. So we are in discussions with the owners on that side to see if they're willing to support at least some of that cost. And then after that, it becomes who's going to pay for the rest. So that's part of the discussion. Fencing is kind of a big one. I don't know that we can get that kind of funding, but it is up for discussion. But the crux of our work with them has been about what they're willing to do on their properties, because their properties are where the dumping is happening. So we haven't had any like firm plans yet, but we're making progress, and they are at least open to discussion. So
Thank you. Any further questions? Go ahead, Board Member.
Just a question. How does it cost to clear?
That's kind of a complicated question. It depends where you're clearing, right? Because if we're talking about the fire break that we just coordinated or partnered with, a lot like the heavy machinery was a combination of donation and city equipment. And a lot of the work was done again by Youth Challenge and the corrections. So in terms of actual cost, it's kind of hard to quantify, but it is a heavy mounting, so it's kind of a case basis.
So, for example, the trash mountain.
Okay, with Trash Mountain specifically, H Power and Protectors of Paradise footed most of that bill because H Power provided the equipment as part of their Earth Day cleanups. They have a program that does Earth Day every year. And Protectors is funded by a city GIA. So that's essentially city money supporting the rest of that. So I don't know what the figures look like, but that's kind of how we were able to fund that.
Another question, sorry. On Waipahū Street, the Snake Road, along the river, there's that vacant lot between the river and the church.
Okay.
Whose property is that? Is that government, federal?
Is that the one above the church?
It's where the bridge is.
Okay.
That first bridge, the Waikele Stream.
Yeah.
So the property from Waikele Stream up to the church.
And that's on the park side.
Across
from.
Yeah.
So on the park side, that's city land, but on the other side, I'm not sure. because we haven't tried to clean that yet. But
Kind
I
of
can confirm
understand
that and get back to you.
where board member Domingo was going, but in regards to the costs, are we, what, taxpayers obviously paying for the of private land? Is that what I hear?
We haven't cleaned private land yet.
Okay. But the trash mountain, that's
So that land that we're cleaning is city property, but it's
only
it's-
accessible from the private side. No.
well, okay, so like that whole parcel that's known as Waipahū Cultural Gardens Park is parkland technically, but it's meant for drainage and overflow of the stream, but its border is on Aniani Place, so it's that hill, yeah. And so from Aniani, some people are dumping refrigerators, couches, mattresses, whatnot over their walls, so it falls into city-owned property.
Okay, got it. That's where I think board member Domingo was leading, as well as Vice Chair Chang. So thank you.
Well, the reason why I'm leading that is that if you're spending tax money to just clear, why not spend tax money to clear and put like for prevention? Because if you did it 4 times,
Yeah. So again, it's difficult to put in measures for prevention because we would have to be spending money on private property.
Any further questions? Thank you, Aaron. Next is from Governor Green's office, Shavani. Welcome.
Hello, Chair, board members, everyone. I'm Shivani Ramos for Governor Green. You all have governor's newsletter, and I wanted to highlight some of the stories that are there. So there's a story about the Kuilei Place housing project, which the groundbreaking took place. It's basically a condominium in Mo'iliili, and this project will offer 1,000 homes and will feature sustainability elements like gray water reuse systems, and more than 85% of the homes have already been built. So this demonstrates the need for affordable housing in that area. And other stories, it's been 5 years since the Hawaii National Guard's COVID-19 response. So the National Guard was pivotal in the state's COVID-19 response, providing support for testing, food distribution, and community relief. And finally, another highlight is Operation Hire Hawaii. So the Department of Human Resource Development launched a recruitment event, I believe it was last month, for 2 days in the Hawaii Convention Center. So that was aimed to fill vacant positions across the state and county agencies, and more than 900 job seekers attended that event. And I also wanted to highlight a little bit about, well, provide more information about the federal situation. So governor and his administration are actively monitoring the evolving federal situation, and especially the Attorney General's office has been sort of like spearheading a lot of the initiatives. For example, just today, Hawaii secured a court order halting the Trump administration's efforts to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education. And this week, too, a federal district court issued a preliminary injunction preventing U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary from terminating $11 billion in congressionally authorized public health funding. So Hawaii was stood to lose more than 89 million, which supports Department of Health programs such as immunization, substance abuse prevention, mental health, and staffing for 86 DOH employees. So yes. And in other news, today state leaders provided an update on the digital agriculture forum. So that's that form you have to fill out whenever you come back from the mainland to here. So Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke announced that the pilot phase of the Akamai arrival digital agriculture reform has significantly improved compliance with a 74% average compliance rate compared to 60% under the paper-only system. So the program began on March 1 and ends at the end of this month. So May 31 was tested on over 100 flights routes with participation from 6 major airlines, including full adoption by Southwest and American Airlines. So following the success of the pilot, the state plans to expand the program across more flights later this year and developed in-house at no cost to taxpayers. So if you want more information on that, you can go to akamaiarrival.org. It's just one word. And finally, I gave a flyer for the Summer Youth Employment Program. So that is hosted by the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations. It's a program that runs from June 2 to August 14, and the program provides paid hands-on work experience and financial literacy training for high school students to prepare for future careers or college. So now that like summer is almost coming, and I highly encourage, if you have high school students or if you know anyone that wants to get experience in the state, this is a really good opportunity. So the eligibility requirements is you have to be 16 to 18, and you have to be a public high school student with a 2.0 GPA or higher, and must have parent guardian consent. And to entice them more, you can get 18-hour compensation up to 40 hours per week, and it's Monday to Friday, 7:45 to 4:30 p.m. And it's a first come, first serve enrollment. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Governor Green's office? Seeing or hearing none. Thank you, Shivani, for your report. I do see Senator Aquino in attendance, so if we could jump to Senator Aquino.
Hello, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Thank you for having us. Just a few things to report. Actually, Waipahū High School, class of 2025, Mystic Nights. Yeah, 650 plus graduates graduated this past Monday. 86 valedictorians, 4.0 or higher. Happy to also mention that there were 29 early college associates degree holders. There were 29 that received their associate's degree before they graduated from high school. There were many other schools on Oahu that had students that graduated with their AA before their high school diploma. And also there were $32 million in merit-based scholarships that were earned by the graduating class. So congratulations, Marauders. Yeah, good job. Also like to congratulate the Waipahū Intermediate School students. Myself and some of my colleagues came from that award night, and it took a while for us to get here. But congratulations to about 200 plus students that were recognized for various awards. As you know, a session ended on May 2nd. Just a few highlights would be there's the budget that passed House Bill 300 was $40 billion biennial budget that addresses a lot of our needs statewide. And lastly, working with HDOT on Farrington Highway, we're trying to improve some safety areas along Farrington, mainly eastbound near Pahu Street. Some improvements have been made, but they're continuing to study that particular area from Aniani Waikele Road to Waipahū Depot Road. So working very closely with HDOT on that. So that would be my report. I'd like to entertain any questions you might have.
Thank you, Senator. Any questions for Senator Aquino from our board? Any questions? Any questions from our members of the audience? Thank you, Senator. Appreciate you rushing from the event.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do I have a representative from Senator Kidani in attendance? Seeing none. Moving on, Representative Chun.
Hey, good evening, Chair, board members. I want to say ditto because I also want to congratulate the class of 2025. You know, I had this whole litany of accomplishments, and Senator Kino, he just kind of stole my thunder since he came in right before me. So the legislative session ended, and, I just wanted to update the board on one of the priorities that I had this year. And it really was dealing with the budget. And one of the issues was repaving Kamehameha Highway, especially the parts between Pearl City. So right where the Leeward and the Farrington Junction, Kamehameha Highway, Farrington Highway Junction is all the way to Mililani, because over the last year and a half, hearing a lot of complaints from especially the residents of Waikele, Crestview, and Waipahū Gentry. And so that was one of my priorities. It was a difficult budget year, but I just wanted to just share that we were able to secure the money. And I really want to thank Senator Michelle Kidani, who on the Senate really helped to make sure that money was in there. So step one, the funding is there. It's a kind of like a three-step process. So the second process is that it has to get released by the governor and also then encumbered by the Department of Transportation. So those are going to be the next steps that I'll be trying to work on. But we got the first step, so that's huge. So hopefully we can bring relief and get that road repaved, because it's kind of falling into disrepair. And when I hear folks from Crestview, they actually say they take Lumikula Street to go north because it's so bad they don't want to actually drive on Kamehameha Highway anymore. So hopefully we can get that done as soon as possible. And I wanted to follow up on that question from Chang from a while back. But I did remember. So during the session, my staff, we had some long conversations with Child and Welfare Services, and I can give you the really long and complicated answer, but in the sake of time, I just share that when it comes to those kinds of situations, what really comes down to facts and circumstances, and is decided by a judge. So no matter what happens to the process, when it comes to that final decision, it will be made by a judge based on facts and circumstances. So I just want to address that question from before. And with that, Chair, I'll take any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you, Representative. Do I have any questions for Representative Chun from our board? Any questions? Any questions from our members of the audience for Representative Chun? Thank you so much, Representative, also for making your way here from that event. Appreciate it. I'm proud to say my two nieces was recipients of the award. So I'm glad you guys were there and I was here. So thank you. I do have a representative from Representative Lam's office. I do see her report was circulated digitally. Board members, it will be available to you on the portal. Any representative from Representative La Chica's office? Okay.
Aloha, Chair and members of the board. My name is Anway. I'm here on behalf of Representative La Chica tonight. She sends her condolences. She is at the energy conference in Maui. I can keep the report pretty short tonight. I just want to talk about a couple bills that passed final reading and are waiting on governor's signature. So HB 862, which expands student transportation options and allows the use of motor coaches, vans, and small buses to address the school bus shortage that we've seen statewide. HB 1231 establishes the largest ever dedicated funding source for safe routes to schools. to improve road safety in high-risk areas. And then HB 329 enables the School Facilities Authority to expand preschool classrooms statewide, including the workforce housing project going in Mililani. Rep. LaChica also wanted to some updates in our district, including repaving Cam Highway between Waipahū and Ka'uka Boulevard, which Rep. Chun mentioned, as well as a mural beautification project on the northbound walls of Cam Highway between Waipahū and Ka'uka Boulevard. Our office also recently hosted a talk story on May 1st. Key leaders from the state and city, including DOT Director Ed Sniffen, HPD, the city's Department of Transportation Services, as well as Wahiawa Community Health Center for an update on measles and vaccine safety. You can watch the recording at reptrishlachica.com under the District Updates tab, and you can also find our current newsletter as well as other previous newsletters there. Lastly, Rep. LaChica has been working closely with Major James Slater of HPD's Traffic Division to respond to community concerns about speeding and illegal racing. So on Cam Highway, these targeted operations led to 5 arrests for illegal racing, DUI, and excessive speeding, as well as 17 citations for speeding and vehicle violations. And then on Meheula Parkway, officers issued 30 speeding tickets, 15 citations for cell phone use, and 28 other violations. That concludes my report. Mahalo for your time. And if you have any questions for Representative LaChica, I'm happy to share them.
Thank you. Do we have any Representative LaChica's office from our board? Any questions, concerns? Any questions or concerns from the audience for our Representative LaChica's office? Seeing none, thank you, Aaron, for your report. Do I have a from Rep. Parrick's office? How about U.S. Representative Ed Key's office? I don't see him here, as well as U.S. Representative Tokuta's office. All right. Flying through our agenda, next we have Board of Water Supply. Nikki?
Aloha, Chair, Board, and guests. Nikki from Board of Water. Just have a couple of things. There were 2 water main breaks in the Waipahū area in April. April 10th, there was an 8-inch cast iron water main installed in 1968 that broke at 94-155 Pule Street. And on the 29th, an 8-inch water main installed in 1954, also cast iron, broke at 94-601 Farrington Highway. And our water tips for this month is all about summer water conservation. So it's getting hotter, and it's all over Kuleana to ensure that we're saving every drop of water to keep our community strong and sustainable today and for future generations. Some easy tips to save water. You can water your plants early in the morning or in the evenings to reduce evaporation. Check for toilet leaks. You all have a toilet leak dye detection tablet. There's some at the table. But most times the problems with toilet leaks are like a faulty little flapper. You can pick one up at City Mill. Shorter showers, don't let your faucets run. And you can also apply for our rebates on water efficient appliances and systems. For more tips on how you can conserve water and save on your water bill, you can look at that magnet that you have or go to boardofwatersupply.com/7ways. And if there are any questions or concerns, happy to take those back.
Thank you. Any questions for Board of Water Supply from our board? Questions from our members of the audience? Seeing none. Thank you. Thank you for your gifts.
You're welcome.
All right. Unfortunately, our OMPO representative is absent this evening due to illness. Do we have any reports from board members' attendance at other meetings? I do have a quick report. I attended the mayor's town hall when he was at Milani, and I was thankful that he did bring out his whole cabinet. It was a good meeting. And no, I did not go up to share any Waipahū in the month of the rebroadcast of our meeting. this evening will be scheduled on Olelo, Channel 49, every Saturday, 9 p.m., and every fourth Sunday at 9 a.m. We would like to also congratulate all the 2025 graduates, especially our area schools here in Waipahū. Congratulations and safe journey through the next chapter in your academic life. So thank you. That concludes our meeting this evening. Thank you.